What's going on, everyone? Thank you for checking out another SGN video where it's all sim all the time. And guys, I am not excited that I have to make this video. In fact, I was debating on if I should, but I kind of ultimately decided I do owe it to you guys. With what I try to do with the Madden community, I needed to drop this video because it's absolutely disappointing that we're on a new generation of consoles and we have these issues. And this one is penalty related, and it's like they've pretty much been completely disabled from the game. We're going to go ahead and talk about this. I'm going to try to keep this video as short as I can for you guys. And it's a very bad job of me. I screenshot on my phone, and this is as big as I can make. So I'm going to read everything off for you guys to help it out. But anyway, with penalties, I want to make sure I wasn't just doing something wrong inside franchise mode. They work in play now, but franchise mode, they're not there. So I go to Operation Sports, and I post the question, penalties, anyone? I was curious to see if anyone has seen any penalties inside franchise mode games, specifically not play now. I've played 5 games with false start, offside, holding, and defensive pass interference completely maxed out, and in that span I have gotten 2 total penalties. Both of them were false start on the CPU. If you've had any holding penalties or any of the 4, please let me know and tell me what difficulty you were on and how you got them, whether it was in franchise mode or play now or something like that. Basically, I'm trying to find out if anybody else has had this issue, and the responses were jaw-dropping. Basically, everyone else is having the same issue. Nobody is seeing any penalties, and it turns out there's a whole other thread on Operation Sports about penalties that I completely missed. I just would have went and posted in had I seen it. But nobody's getting penalties. Everyone's really frustrated about it. And we're going to come back to that thread. But so immediately what I do is I head to Twitter to go after, or not go after, but to hit up a couple people that I know are very big in the Madden community to try to get their voice heard, because Madden isn't really my strong suit. 2K is where I'm more known and popular and have what I feel like is more of a voice. Madden, I'm still trying to work my way there. So I go to hit up a couple blue checkmark people that I've had conversations with, and the guys over at the Sim Standard who very prevalent in Madden, to see if I can't get a little help. And this is how that went. I said, hey, Unique Magazine, who is Brian Mazik, by the way, who last year started the Fix Madden franchise hashtag that got us the franchise improvements that we've seen. So he's a big part of that. So in fact, the main reason why. So I immediately, tweeted at him and said, please do me a favor and read the thread that I posted on Operation Sports. Maybe you can get Fix Madden penalties trending, especially with how the penalty slider is presented in-game. And of course, I hashtag Madden 22 and Madden NFL 22 to get as many people seen as I could. And of course, you see the list of everybody that I tagged there. All the guys from Sim Standard, Hollywood Sports, great guy, Pasta Padre, Adam Broski used to be a dev on Madden in the past, who I've talked to a lot. Great guy from North Dakota, whoop whoop. Anyway, and the big thing I want you guys to take away that is how Madden is presented penalties to us in the game. So let's take a look how they present penalties to us. So in Madden 22, you can go on your main screen, you can go to your settings and go to penalties, and this is what it says. It says, and this is for whether it's defensive pass interference, offsides, false start, holding, whatever the case may be. It says that this slider modifies the base chance per pass play for defensive pass interference, or whichever slider you're on, to occur. Frequency set at normal, which is 50, setting is based on NFL data. Now wait a minute. You're telling me that when these are left at 50, pure default, right down the line, that we're getting penalties called on par with how they occur in the NFL? Well, let's see. It's really easy these days to look up stats in NFL. The average amount of penalties per game last year were 5.56 per team. That means you should have 11 penalties per game. We can't even get 2. This is a flat-out lie. This is false advertising. This is a whole bunch of bad right here. Now, you might ask yourself, well, why is this so bad? Well, let me show you. So, Sim Football Critic, I'm a big fan, but he never responds to me, unfortunately. However, shout out to Hollywood Sports, a great guy. Go follow him if you haven't already. He responded to my subtweet where I had to tweet at Sim Football Critic again, asking him to talk about penalties because they're turned off. And Hollywood responded, which then triggered Sim Football Critic to reply saying this: "There's a bug in franchise with penalties. They know about it." Now, I don't know where you got that information, but I feel like that information is incorrect. We've had issues with penalties for a while now, but let me show you why I think that it's not a bug. So, if you remember, I posted that I made a thread on Operation Sports, asked about penalties. Well, one of the users over there, his name is JD, dropped this. He said, "Go here and support this thread. They have added it to suggestions, so it has some eyes on it." And he drops a link to this thread. Now, this thread right here is what makes me think that this is not a bug, people. That this is by intention, and this is Madden 16 with defensive holding all over again. And this is why I'm telling you right now, Madden 22 has removed penalties from the game, and it'll take everyone to get them back. So the link that he dropped brings us here. It's to an EA webpage where people were talking about wanting penalties, and we actually got a response from a community manager. And this was on Friday, the 13th. So right after the EA Play trial was released, right? This is what he says: "I've seen these requests over the last few years on the forums, and I've raised it up to the team. From my take, it's a combination of not enough requests from the community to implement this, and also likely a factor of game design. If we get a bunch of players request this on the forums, it definitely helps give us a better idea on how many want the changes and the priority the community wants it. For the moment, I don't see it as a high priority compared to a lot of other features requested throughout these forums and elsewhere on the internet. I understand your perspective on maxing it out to simulate the amount of penalties you would see in professional games. Not quite sure what the difficulty would be in adjusting the code for that would be. However, I imagine a very small fraction of the community would actually do that. Offensive pass interference is in the game, but it has a certain set of conditions to activate it. Penalties like holding and pass interference are rarely called, which is by game design. From discussions I've had with the community team and my own personal experience playing the game over the years, it's extremely aggravating when those penalties come up after you had a huge gain or under critical moments, all caused by AI. If you think about it, causing those to come up far more often would mean you're scripting the game. A lot of players don't want that. They want to be able to control their own destiny. We'll keep an eye out for more requests. This community is extremely vocal, so it shouldn't be hard to see. I'll surely pass along to the team for you, though." Okay, so if it's a bug, why would he be saying that? Right? This is why I don't think it's a bug. Also, you can't say that it's aggravating or call it scripting when it's tied to a slider, especially when you announce that set to 50 is based on real NFL data. Penalties happen, and if you don't want them to be scripting, then give players tendencies, right? 2K and MLB The Show have tendencies in the game for all their players. Why can't Madden give us tendencies? The worst tendency system in all of sports gaming belongs to Madden NFL. All right? Does a person make sideline catches? Are you kidding me? They're pro football players. Of course they do. Does a quarterback throw tight spirals? Duh, he's in the NFL. Like, these are the most ridiculous set of tendencies we've ever seen, and they can't even get penalties tied to tendency sliders. And this is why we have this issue. And furthermore, I question if they're advertising in the game that penalties are going to occur based on real NFL data when set to 50, right? Yet they're openly telling their community managers that lots of penalties are by design not being called. Is it even simulation? The license that they're paying for. Alright guys, I know the video's a bit long, but I hope this information helped you out. I hope you help me spread the word that we need to get these penalties back in the game for franchise. That's it for the video, guys. Make sure you stay tuned to the next one. Peace.